fighting fury, we're from Tigerland. In any weather you will see us with a grin, risking head and skin. If we're behind, then never mind, we'll fight and win, for we're from Tigerland. We never weak until the final siren's gone.
Trade week is done, folks, and the Tigers have done it. We've come through with the goods right at the death. We've won trade week, or so we'll keep telling ourselves anyway. But, you know, we all thought we weren't having any more participation after the Tyler Young trade, EJ, and then at the absolute death knock, Blair Hartley pulls out a pick 99 for Patrick Retschko, who was delisted from Geelong about a few weeks ago. He's a mad Richmond supporter, as it turns out, and we've now got him on the books. I think it sounds like it was just done as a goodwill or nice gesture to Patrick, essentially, to get him into the club without going through the rigmarole of being delisted and then going through that process. It sounds like get him in here quicker.
Yeah, and legitimately had dusty posters on his wall, if we use that old chestnut.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yes, yeah, legitimate. And so for those of us that are old, going at pick 99, if he doesn't get called Barbara, I'll be very disappointed.
I've had a few luff balloons.
No. It's, remember the show Get Smart?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so Maxwell Smart. And his offsider was Agent 99, and that was played by Barbara Feldon.
Okay.
Every young boy's dream at the time. She was fantastic. Not quite up there with I Dream of Jeannie, but pretty close.
It's an interesting acquisition, and I mean this really respectfully, but I would hazard to guess that a lot of supporters hadn't really heard about him. And if I was to guess, I would say that he was the most Googled name in a 10-minute period once that trade had gone through. But what's actually been really pleasing is actually seeing the amount of posts by Geelong people, I suppose, when he got delisted, saying that they all thought he was like pretty hard done by and he was a pretty good type. There seemed to be quite a bit of love going his way from Geelong supporters, which I think is nice. And like we were saying off air, that if you're going to pick someone up who's been delisted from a club, I definitely think you're better off trying to pick the eyes out of a team like Geelong, who have been ultra successful, whether we like it or not. They've been ultra successful, and it's a hard team to break into. Whereas if you're picking someone who got delisted and couldn't get a game for West Coast or North Melbourne or Essendon, you'd be like, maybe not such a good idea. But from the Cats, you think, fair play. And it seems like he's going to be someone who slots in on the wing by the look of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the pleasing thing for us is, yes, it's a goodwill gesture to use pick 99, etc., but it's a needs-based selection.
Yes.
So what we have not got bedded down in our side at the moment is our wings. He is known as having good pace. We had an injured Ralph Smith and a retiring K-Mac. So the opportunity is there that he at least gets a crack if he ticks all the boxes.
Exactly right. And I've been getting quite a few messages from people who know a bit more about him than what I do, which has been really good. So RFC Centre sent through that. So he played APS footy and was captain with Jasper Olga and Uze's young fella, ripping young kid, outside player, great engine, solid enough disposal, could slot in the wing at round 1 next year, runs a sub 6-minute 2K time. And he could actually blow the players away with his running capability in the pre-season time trials and things like that. And I read somewhere else that just for like a warm-up, he does a casual 2K run for warm-ups before games. So it seems like very much in that Camden McIntosh mold by way of running power and capacity, which is something that we've really valued on the wing for a number of years, being able to work up and down the ground relentlessly. It seems a very targeted and deliberate type of approach, doesn't it?
Yeah, perfect, because we've got plenty of inside run. We need outside run. That's what we need. He's not quite as big as K-Mac. I think he was 186. I think K-Mac was 100.
He was drafted at. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's still a good size, but not a massive winger by any stretch of the imagination, but an endurance beast. I thought I saw something around the time of 6:07, which is still a good time. So, really excited to see what he can do. And look, someone's already given him the number 4. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. So this is his rookie me draft profile in his draft year, which are always pretty good. Ooh, I'm scrolling on the wrong screen. So strengths, endurance, outside run, size, versatility. I mean, outside run straight away ticks a box for us, right? We all know as Richmond supporters that is something we are in desperate, dire need of. So that works. Endurance, if you can couple endurance with outside running, that's a great blend. And that's actually why, funnily enough, Sam Grill's probably going to shoot himself up the order, because he seems to have that exact same blend, which I think will be very appealing to a lot of clubs. Size and versatility. I mean, 186 centimeters is, I mean, he might have grown a little bit since he was drafted as well, potentially. Improvements, defensive acts and kicking. I mean, you don't like seeing that, but it can be worked on.
We've had Camden on a wing for years, so kicking isn't exactly the number one priority.
That's right. It doesn't have too big a boots to fill on that front. But if we read through it here, a strong pre-season had Patrick's name on everybody's lips, the hard-running utility, primed to make a significant leap in his top-age campaign. He ended up performing strongly across multiple levels, proving a mainstay for Vic Metro, Oakley Chargers, and Kerry Grammar. Retschko's running ability just about second to none. He would seem to be warming up by running laps of the field, already getting a couple of kilometres in under his belt before adding another 15 in the game. Isn't that kind of like the crazy batshit stuff that Nick Rewalt used to do, isn't it? Translate to a relentless outside run, which creates enormous transitional drive. A 6.072K time trial, which is what you mentioned before, confirmed his elite endurance at the state draft combine. So you can play quite a few different roles. He has the size to impact at stoppages and around the ground, often taking strong overhead grabs. Could perhaps enhance the defensive side of his game, which I think is fine. And I think, you read that type of stuff and it ticks a few boxes. I don't mind it.
No, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
We'll roll some highlights. This is credit to Footy Stuff, who, as we all know, do an absolute wonderful amount of work on draftee videos. I'll better hit mute so it doesn't play a heap of sound over. But he's wearing the number 4 for Oakley Chargers in this particular clip. 23 disposals, 4 marks and a goal. We're seeing him on the outside there. Long range goal from 50. Well, not bad, not bad. I'm sure the club's going to have some other highlights up there as well. But interesting that he was, on his draft profile, he's actually listed specifically as a wingman. So it's not like it's a halfback or a half forward or a midfielder that's being transformed into a wing. He's actually playing on the wing at his coach level. And I believe he was doing that at VFL level too.
Well, his VFL numbers look quite respectable.
Yeah, well, it looked like it was
21.7 or something like that.
Yeah, which I think that's not too shabby at all, especially for a wingman. Yeah, that wasn't a good kick. Not bad numbers at all. It's interesting because he hasn't been on their list for very long. I think he was drafted in, was it 23 maybe?
24.
24 was it? Okay. So, yeah, it's a sort of, like I said, Geelong are a quality outfit, so it's actually very difficult to crack into their side. But
actually, I think he was rookied. Does that make that make sense? Because I think if you're drafted, you get a minimum 2 years.
Right, so he's been taken as a rookie pick. Okay.
I'm pretty sure he was rookie. I'll see if I can find it. But
that might make a bit more sense then in terms of being eligible. So he would probably know then quite a few of the draftees that we've got at the club now. He would have maybe had a bit to do with them. Nice tackle there. But it's a free hit. Like pick 99, it's literally just a list spot. There's nothing in it. It's pretty much a token pick gesture. And I think people need to remember that when we're watching him play in terms of expectations and things like that. Oh, there you go, pick 23 in the rookie draft.
Just beat me to it. I've just got it up.
There you go. Jay Martin's beating you to it.
No, I had it up, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Damn you, Jay Martin.
It makes you wonder that's being such a deliberate and targeted approach. Do you think the club have the belief that he might have the ability to slot in and play early in the season? I know that can be a really hard question to answer, but it feels like the wing's the spot on the ground we have a vacancy in.
Yeah, I do. And as I said, that's that needs-based thing. What this coming out of this for me is that one of the two players that has not yet been re-signed is probably in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I think so. I think it does spell a little bit of disaster for Sonzi and, well, maybe and Dow. I haven't done the math yet on what the list situation is, but do we have 2 spots left or 3? Because we've got Callaway as well. So yeah, someone in chat might have already seen. I've been out and about, so I haven't had time to sit down and work out the workings out of that side of things. But yeah, it could be interesting to see what's installed for them. I mean, if you're talking about positional wise, I know they tried Thompson down on the wing. I don't think it suited him. I think it was a bit of a makeshift, but he definitely did better work in the middle. And Sonzi, I mean, how do you feel about Sonzi being a potential wingman? Does it suit him? I don't know.
I think Sonzi would be a great wingman because, as I think I made the comparison during the year, like D'Ambrosio, he's got the skills, and he played a bit of winger. He was holding his position all right, and when you went to the games, you noticed the players were looking for him when he was on the wing, and he's a really good conduit from defence into attack, I believe. So I actually think, whilst there are deficiencies that have been well discussed, that Sonzi offers a lot from an attacking point of view.
It's funny you say that because I remember when I put together a few video analysis videos of counter-attacking plays, there was quite a number of them when we were counter-attacking that he was the one out in space that was getting the ball and then doing the next kick. So to your point, he was holding his shape really well and being a good outlet option to start that counter-attack.
Yep. So I definitely think there is scope there. And look, his disposal is better than so many. Like he's definitely got, from a skills perspective, he's definitely better equipped than a lot of people like Hugo, for example. Hugo tries really hard and he runs really hard and his hair goes everywhere. But his disposal will be probably low 60s efficiency. He's not.
So if you had to pick between Sonzi and Hugo for one wing spot, you're going Sonzi?
Right now, I'm going Hugo because he does what he's told, and his efforts, he's back to back to back. I mean, you go to more games than me. I went to only 5 or 6 games. He runs his ass off at a higher level of intensity, than some others. Now, if we could take Hugo's desire and put it in Sonzi, it's a no contest. But
yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, it's actually a really hard call. But I think if Retschko works out, that would allow you to play Sonzi on one wing and Retschko on the other.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does feel it's targeted, and I think you could play both of them. I think I'm with you. I would go Ralph Smith at the moment as well, just because of the work rate. But if we were talking about skill base, I think Sonzi does shade him. But I do think that Patrick's been thrown a very specific lifeline here that could see him playing early. So if we look at his stats from 2024 in Vic Metro, 3 games, average 17 disposals.
I'm getting shit from bloody Birdman.
You're getting heckled in chat.
I said, I'm on this stupid bloody tablet which doesn't have a sit-up function, and he's crapping me for my bloody framing. Get stuffed, Birdman.
He was trying to find something to set it up on beforehand.
I was trying before we started.
Which makes your comments all the more funny. And then for Oakley, Chargers averaged 16.9 disposals in 2024, 3 marks, 1.4 tackles. So, I mean, if he's playing specifically on the wing, that's not so bad. Does anyone in chat know what our list situation is now that we have taken him as a listed player? I just haven't been able to have the time to work out if we've got 1 spot, 2 spot, 3 spots, or what the go is. Birdman, to
Okay,
answer your
Dr.
other
Zeus.
question, no,
Okay,
we
Dr.
haven't.
Zeus.
What?
1 spot, 2 spot, 3
Oh,
spot,
did I?
4
Yeah.
spot.
We haven't talked about Gold Coast not being able to match bids in the top 4. Again, that's something, and I've had quite a few people messaging me about this on different socials. I haven't had the chance to run the numbers on it again, and someone else may have already done this. With the trade today, EJ, of Gold Coast and Melbourne obviously got the deal done for Petrarca, which was a few first rounders, and then a couple of later first rounders or second rounders going back to Gold Coast to help with their points. I don't know what their net position is. If I'm guessing, I feel like they've got enough picks spread out to cover bids early, but I still think they're going to be running it close. But you can go into deficit by, I think it's 1,160 something. But I think that if West Coast were to somehow bid at 1, which is very unlikely, maybe 2's the best we can hope for, and then us at 3, it could make things really interesting. But like I said, I haven't had time to run the numbers to see how close they're going to be shaving it. But do we?
I don't think they're concerned. I don't think they're concerned, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
they've got really good prospects this year, but then they've got a couple of really quiet years for academy kids before, I think it's 3 years' time, when the next big one is going to come through. So they can go into, that's a lot of words. I'm just going to read this.
The 10% discount applied if Zeke Euland's bid on at pick 2 and Dylan Patterson at pick 4. After the Petrarca and Budrick trades, Gold Coast will be left with 3,773 points. But they need 3,999 to match the suspected bids. So they've probably got enough to go into deficit then.
Yes, they do.
Is how I take that. Given that
in the next couple of years, there's nothing amazing coming through, so they're not worried about if they have to go in deficit.
Yeah, because they're not chasing something else that's really good.
There's no Euland next year.
Yeah, okay. So having that deficit range of 1,160, whatever it is going to be enough buffer, which is annoying.
Yes.
Like, I know they were smart enough to make sure they could get him. I knew they would somehow get there, but I wonder if it makes a difference if a bid comes in at 1, if it shifts it. Maybe not. Maybe it's still not enough to shift it, but hopefully we all still bid, because at the end of the day, I think we will, for what it's worth. I mean, you'd listen to Rai Geishan, and as he said, that if the players are deemed good enough, they're deemed good enough, and it is what it is. So they'll bid if they have to bid. There is a pick 99. That's it.
There was a pick 108 traded or something, or a pick 106 traded during
Will Brody.
Yeah.
There you go. So we've got 4 spots left plus 1 category B spot.
That's what I was trying to bring to your attention. So if we've got picks 3 and 4, and then the Callaway pick, that's 3 spots, which means there's 1 spot left for either of Dow or Sonzi.
And that's on the assumption we don't split picks, which may not happen.
That was my next point. Yep.
So we've kind of got ourselves covered for all things. We either split picks and we get another player in this year, because we've got 3 picks in the draft plus Louis Callaway. Well, that's your 4. Sorry, we've got
2 picks in the draft. No, we've got 2 picks in the draft, and then the pick later on, which is for Louis Callaway.
I don't think it is. Well, I don't think it will have to be that pick 38. So by the time bids and all that kind of stuff happen, and because of where Gold Coast picks are situated, that pick 38 is going to come into about pick 30 to 33. I don't see a Callaway bid coming at that range.
Okay, so if we pick, so I've got a question. So if we pick a 3rd player,
yeah,
and then the Callaway bid comes afterwards,
yeah,
how do we get him?
So we would have to then just do a trade on the night for a future 3rd with the current 3rd, and then maybe there's an element of us going into deficit for our 3rd round for the following year. It wouldn't be by much though at that point in the draft though, based on the pick numbers. But if he slides out to pick 53 or 54 onwards, we only need a list spot. We don't even need a pick to be able to match a bid with. So I don't think anyone's going to bid on him at about pick 30 to 35, which is where that 38 pick could end up. So I think we can either trade it into a future for next year, or we can take it on a slider. Like someone like a Fred Rodriguez could slide potentially, and I still think we can get Callaway for free afterwards, or by trading in something else.
I don't know how up to date this is. So we have 3, 4, 38, and 81.
Yeah.
Right. So we can use 3, 4, 38. We can use 81 to match the bid. Done.
Well, 81 won't carry any points. Once he gets past pick 50, if he gets past pick 50, then we would just be using 81 as a token pick and a list spot, essentially. So it's... I
reckon he's a chance to slide to 50.
I think so. And look, I don't necessarily agree with that because I think he's had a super year. I think he's being sold massively short, to be honest. But if you look at all the different mock drafts and power rankings, his range is probably about that 45 onwards. So there's a good chance that he could go later. So that's why, like, Dow and Sonzi could both be in trouble because we could have 3 live selections with our 3 current picks and then still get Callaway for free.
Yeah. So here, I've been told by John Polly to go and sit on a phone book.
Sit on an old phone book.
Right. Polly, have a cracker. You want a cracker, Polly? Polly, have a cracker.
And Ricky, that's a good point. And a lot of people seem to feel this way, EJ, that if we do split picks, a lot of people feel that we'll be splitting into next year rather than this year, which I think I can see why we would do either, but I can understand more why a future would work better for us, given that we will have Tanner Armstrong, Daffy, and Jack Lees to have to worry about in terms of bidding and picks and things like that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. So, okay, so Noah's re-qualified. We've got 4 list spots available plus 1 category B. Those spots don't include the delisting of Dow and Sonzi.
What does that mean? That if we've got those spots and Dow and Sonzi, we've got those spots plus Dow and Sonzi.
Is that right? That seems like a lot.
I do like Nuclear Days Foo was here. Anyone who's over the age of 40 will understand that. Do you remember the old cartoons with the nose and the fingers over the wall?
Yeah.
That's what he's getting.
Tubby Josh wants to know, are you able to bid twice in a row? Like if the Eagles pick Euland at 3 and Gold Coast get him, can West Coast pick Patterson at 3? Yeah, they can. Yeah, you can do back-to-back bids.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure we've done that. We did that to
Brisbane or
Gold Coast, one of the two.
I reckon we did.
It might have even been Cumberland and Chol related potentially way back when. But no, you definitely can, Josh. So there's a good chance. I mean, if West Coast wanted to do that earlier, they could soak up the points and give themselves a chance to land Patterson if they bid early enough. But yeah, no, they definitely can. Thomas, we're trying to work that out. It feels like they're going to have enough because they can go into deficit. I think they'll just have enough coverage. And as EJ mentioned earlier, because they don't have much going on in the space of academy players over the next few years, apparently, that they won't be so fussed if they go into deficit for whatever pick it is in 2026 and beyond. So we've done some calculations. If West Coast bid on Euland at pick 2, and if we bid for Patterson at pick 4, Gold Coast won't be able to match a bid. Interesting. Is that taking into account deficit, though, of 1,100? Now, what about some of the other trades that happened today, EJ? Charlie Curnow made his way to the Swans, which I know is one that you wanted to talk about briefly.
Well, I did some preliminary discussions. I did not discussions. What am I talking about when I look at stuff?
Research.
I did some research before the trade because everyone was talking about 3 firsts for Charlie, and I thought, oh, that can't be right. And I went and had a look at the Jeremy Cameron trade. Now, you've got it. Beautiful. So Geelong gave up 3 first-round picks, which slid out to picks 13, 15 and 20, and a 4th-round pick, and they got Jeremy Cameron and then 2 second-rounders back. So they gave away 3 first-rounders, but they got a player and 2 second-rounders back, right? Now, at the time that Jeremy Cameron was traded, he was a year younger than Curnow, and his stats were way better. I don't think anyone is going to sit here and try and argue that Curnow is an equal to Jeremy Cameron, because he's not. He's a good player, but he's not an equal to Jeremy Cameron. Now, if we look at the Cameron trade, the Curnow trade, which I think you have.
No, I don't have the Curnow one.
Oh, right. So you showed me a graphic, and I thought that was going up. So Sydney have given away 3 first-round picks and Will Hayward for Charlie Curnow and a couple of second-round picks. So for an inferior player who is a year older, they have given away the Geelong deal and a best 23 player.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
And people are going to say, oh, yeah, but Jeremy Cameron, he was out of contract. Well, he was out of contract, but he was a restricted free agent, and GWS matched the bid. So Geelong had to trade, or he would have stayed at GWS.
Suppose it's a bit of inflation, I guess, in the trade marketplace that maybe accounts for it, I guess. And I sometimes feel like the other trades that happen in the relevant year can start to dictate it, like the Petrarca one and what was going for him. It's like, well, was that the starting point for players who were contracted? Obviously, the Zach Merritt one was the Zach Merritt one. I mean, I find it extraordinary that Essendon asked for 4 first-rounders. I know that some of the ones they were being offered were going to slide a little bit. I'm not sure we could have gotten 4 first-rounders for Dusty back in the day, far be it. For Zach Merritt,
I tweeted out exactly that. We would not have got 4 for prime Dusty, and they're asking 4 for a 30-year-old Merritt.
So that was really interesting with how that played out. I mean, look, you have to, if you're Essendon, you're banking on Zach Merritt to be ultra professional, to go back into that environment and hit the ground running. From an outside perspective, you can't help but feel it might not pan out that way. But we'll have to wait and see what happens.
I think he is. Well, Retschko was the shock trade. I think the shock was the amount of trades that didn't go through. Look, I don't normally do this. Can I just give Carlton a pat on the back?
Oh,
I think they've done really, really well. Right? They have been very flaky up forward, and you've now got Ben Ainsworth and Will Hayward. Will Hayward, if he was in Victoria, he would be getting big ups. He's a really good footballer, and he's bloody consistent, and he's tough. He's a great contested mark for his size. I think we've all seen a fair bit of Ainsworth this year with the Suns. Neither of those have really cost them very much. I think, Hayward was the steak knives in a ripping deal. They got Florent for nothing. He'll be a best 23 player. He played a lot of footy for many years, and the only reason he didn't play this year was because he fell out of favour with Dean Cox. He'll slot straight into the best 23 at Carlton. So they've got, multiple best 23 players in at a very, very minimal cost.
It's going to be interesting to see how they function next year. I guess the natural inclination is that they might take a step backwards just while they adjust without having Curnow. I mean, Tom De Koning's a massive loss. Silvani, to an extent, is a loss, but more so De Koning. I mean, when they were sort of being spoken about in premiership contender territory a couple of years ago, that was largely off the back of De Koning playing as one of the best ruckmen in the competition. So how they adjust and handle that will be interesting, but maybe it could be one step back, but then 2 steps forward once they settle and adjust, because I think the players they've got in will undoubtedly help their front half of the ground if Mackay can do his thing. I think
Silvani is the biggest loss.
You reckon?
Yeah, just from a structural point of view. Like, he was rock solid down back beside Wiedering. So the number 2 down back now is going to have to be Young. They don't have anyone else, really. Yeah. They're not super deep on key position stocks. So, yes, I mean, TDK is fantastic, don't get me wrong. But Pitnet is a more than serviceable ruckman.
Yeah, he does.
And I know I keep rabbiting on about it, but I always say never overpay for a ruckman. So for Carlton to put their money into other parts of the ground, I actually think it's a smart move.
I think they've done okay. Family ceiling for next year in terms of position, is that in terms of how you think Richmond were going to go? What was, just if you can qualify that, we can then get an answer for you. What about Gold Coast? Christian Petrarca into that midfield is unbelievable. And then Jamara Ugle-Hagan, for all of obviously the dumb shit things that he's done, if he's going to get himself right, and we all know as well as anybody that Dimmer's got a innate ability to be able to get the best out of players like that, and he's prepared to take a risk. I won't be shocked if Jamara is boarding with Dimmer or another coach to keep a close eye on him.
He's living with Jared Harbrow.
There you go. So that's one of the coaches. And I know Gold Coast on the surface isn't the ideal place for someone who likes to indulge in the party side of things. But if he's kept on the straight and narrow with a coach, they're paying him $200,000 a year. If he gets his shit together, they are going to be an unbelievably better side next year.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think Petrarca's probably going to play about 60 to 70% forward.
Yeah, Dusty style.
Yeah, he's going to be the in emergency break glass midfielder, because you've got, Rowell, Anderson, Miller, Weller, et cetera, et cetera. He'll go in. He'll definitely do mid-time every game, but he's going to be that high half forward and damaging. And I think it's a perfect fit for Gold Coast.
Yeah, they're going to be a scary side if they get their shit together. Samuel Louis Callaway's undersized, need to hit the gym. I think he's growing pretty well this year. I would definitely say at the start of this year and late last year, he was definitely very, very skinny. What actually has worked in Louis' favour is he actually finished year 12 a year early. So all of this year, he was able to dedicate to footy, and he was really able to bulk up a bit. He definitely is a lot stronger now, and hopefully he's still got some growing to do. I think from memory, Duncan and Andy Callaway were both sort of late-ish bloomers, and maybe the same thing will happen with Louis. But I still think, I'm not saying you're saying this at all, Samuel, but I do think that a lot of pundits do sell him short with how consistent he was all of this year for Sturt and for SA. I mean, doesn't have any of those ultra elite qualities, which is probably what's undone him, but he does a lot of things really, really well. He sees himself as a midfielder as his best position, but can obviously play on halfback, has played forward as well. And he's just one of those guys, EJ, that plays within his limitations. Like, he doesn't try and do something he can't do. He'll just take the easy kicks, make sure you keep possession, and put someone else in a better spot. And I think you need players to do that.
Knowing what not to do, knowing what risks not to take, is a skill that is completely underrated, right? When you are able to knock the mistakes out of your game and you become a known quantity to the rest of your teammates, so that builds trust like you wouldn't believe. I'm a massive fan of people that early on figure out, as Clint Eastwood said, or Dirty Harry said, a man's got to know his limitations, right? I most often see it in cricket, where players learn not to play certain shots because it doesn't work for them. Steve Waugh was a great example. He was a happy hooker early. He completely removed it. He trained himself to just dead set 100% not play the shot, right? If he's already got the skill to not take that because he knows it's too much of a risk, because his head can compute that X, Y, and Z player around his player are a chance to cut off or whatever, which leads to a turnover, massive.
He's got good footy IQ in that sense. He has a really good ability to pick the correct option, whether it's releasing someone by hand out of a stoppage or breaking away himself and delivering it by foot. So I'm really excited. Look, we don't know for certain that he's going to make his way to us, but I think I saw somewhere that only us and maybe one or two others interviewed him, because most other clubs are assuming that he's coming to Richmond. I feel like that's going to happen, even though no one's officially said it. I just can't see the bid coming early. So family wants to know what we think our likely ladder position is for next year, EJ. What do you reckon?
Okay. I'll just quickly backtrack to what you were talking about, knowing what not to do. The best example for that from the Richmond point of view was watching Alex Rance charge out of the back line early in his career. And then after 2 or 3 seasons, he narrowed his choices down. Yeah. That's the perfect example of it, is crazy Rance versus prime Rance.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. Look, I think we're looking at 16th, maybe 15th, maybe 15th, 16th. I don't think we're going to storm up the ladder next year, but I do think next year we are going to get a lot of development in, and at the end of next season, we'll be sitting there going, all right, now we're ready to go.
I agree. I still think we're bottom 4 next year, and that's not a bad thing. And we've said a few times, family, that there is a solid chance that we will play better next year. We'll play better football more often, but we still might not win as many games as we did this year because of the other improvement of other teams. And I think we have to prepare ourselves for that because that is a live chance. But like we spoke about on Monday night, EJ, I think the biggest measuring stick for us next year is all about the percentage. I think you said you wanted it between that 75 and 80 mark. We're currently in the mid 60s, which obviously isn't very good at all. So that's going to be the next progression. And look, funnily enough, when you look at a team comparing to like North Melbourne, for example, they leaked more scores, a higher score than us on average, and they're 5 years ahead of us in a rebuild. So I think we're in an okay spot there. And I think as the years get on, we get a bit more proficient in the midfield, working harder both ways. That will hopefully stem some of the bleeding defensively. And then we've just got to get that 10 to 15% better each year offensively to kick a bigger score ourselves.
Yep.
To Tubby's next points, keep sending through your questions, guys. It's good. You would have seen the photos today, EJ. The club posted up some photos of some of the young Cubs and Jaden Short on the training track. Very good to see. And look, I know that there's going to be plays from all clubs doing stuff, but it can't help but warm your heart when you see the young Cubs really. It just shows grit, determination, a want and a desire to be the best that they can be. They're not slacking off. They're putting in the hard yards. Smiley's looking good. Harry Armstrong, questionable soccer team, but he's looking all right out there. Oh, no, what have you got? But awesome to see him out there. And even to see Jaden Short out there as well.
I'm staying in the Harry Armstrong suite
tonight. There you
tonight.
go, room 34. Very good. But yeah, awesome to see him out there, EJ. And even what about seeing Jaden Short out there too? I think we spoke about the fact that he had a quiet and not so good start to the year, but I think when he came back from injury, he definitely recaptured some form, and hopefully he gets to kick on with that.
Yeah, hopefully so. And there's another person that could take a wing with Banksy making the halfback sort of spot his own. I think that he has been energised by what is going on around the club, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
like so many young kids.
It's good. It's just vibrant. It's a good thing to have. I saw someone ask a question on Instagram, why aren't they wearing their Richmond gear? The answer to that one's just a simple one. It's because the clubs technically don't have access to the players until preseason starts. So that's just them there on their own back doing some extra work. So they aren't really allowed to do anything in an official capacity, which would be if they were to kit up in the Richmond gear. So that's just all that is. Do you think our draft strategy changes since we picked up Retschko? Do we still take the punt on Grill, or do you lock in a different player type, given that Grill probably has the same running type of capabilities? Obviously, a bit more of a higher-end talent. Does it change how we go into the draft, do you reckon?
Best available.
Best available?
Best available. We're right at the pointy end of the draft. We are right at the pointy end. We don't muck around. It's the best available. If it's another running player and it impacts Retschko, unlucky, best available. We've done really well in the last couple of years to set ourselves up here.
No shortcuts either.
Right, so don't go off track here. Best available.
And then I suppose the discussion becomes who's best available. Ricky, I'm all for this. If we can go undefeated next year, all for it. Sign us up. Okay, we actually reckon 7 games next year. It's hard, isn't it? Because we were 3 goals away from winning 8 games. That may not happen again next year, of course. But
the best thing that happened was that we didn't win 8 games.
I know. Yeah, I know. It ends up working out in your favour. Is there a chance for Butters next year if we offer $2 million a year on a 5-year contract? It's an interesting one. I mean, I'd be pretty pissed off if we didn't have our hat in the ring for Butters. I guess the hard part is if you're Zach Butters, EJ, I feel like your preference would be to go to a contending side. It might be a harder sell for us. If we have a really promising year next year, it becomes an easier sell. I still think other teams could sell better if they're in a contender like a Hawthorn or Bulldogs. Having said that, though, we're probably one of a few teams that can offer a shitload amount of money that may not be matchable by Port, which I think is the important part to the equation.
And it may not be matchable by Hawthorn, which also helps because there's no doubt we've got more room in our cap than them, right?
And they might go round 2 on merit next year as well.
No, I think they're going to go. I think that was their shot at merit. They're going to go all guns. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I do. I hope we go for Butters. Not to say
I hope we go for him, but
we'll land him. But
of next year's crop, but I think we've got players of that ilk in this crop that we've got coming through. I'd be looking at maybe a hybrid type like a Bailey.
I would love to go after Zach Bailey. He would be a great get. Again, big money. I think Essendon are going pretty hard at him as well, but you'd like to be in the market for him too.
Yeah, that's the one that I would go for.
Is he from
Melbourne?
Again,
sorry?
Is he from Melbourne?
I think he wants to come back to Melbourne, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that adds to that hybrid rotation of Lawler, Taranto, Houghton, Bailey, that all are mid forwards, and you've got this rotating core of 5 or 6 that are running through the midfield and also going forward.
I feel like once we get them developed and we get to that point, if they come on as we hope, it's going to be challenging for other midfields to keep up with this when you've got quality just going in and out. Like your second string will be equally as A grade as your first string. And that's going to be a really unique spot we might find ourselves in. Hoops, pick 38. Do we use on Holmes' brother? He'll definitely, I shouldn't say definitely, but I think he'll be there around that mark. I reckon there could be another slider or two, though.
That comma makes it look like, do we use it on Holmes? Instead of the apostrophe above, which would be Holmes's. So do we use it on Holmes? Yeah, mate, I'll use 38 on Holmes.
Yeah, well, we'll take Max Holmes for 38 for sure. But there could be like a Fred Rodriguez, a Jack Dalton could be there. My absolute wish list would be, well, maybe it's changed now because I was hoping for Harley Barker or a wingman, but we may have solved that today with pick number 99 coming into the books. But I think there'll be a slider there for sure. Even like a Swaddle from WA, who averages about 40 disposals a game for some of his Colts games, could be another good pick as well. Birdman, I don't like this. Word on the street is that Roby will be gone at pick 2 by West Coast. Gee, there's going to be a lot of clubs lining up, aren't there? That would be shit. Not going to lie. That'd be pretty annoying. Noel Richenko is similar to Harley Barker. I think, I think Harley's probably blessed with a bit more skill. Both seem to be pretty good runners. Maybe you can argue that Richenko is a better runner. He seems to have a pretty good power of running ability.
Can we get the Jared Petrenko out of there? It's Retschko.
Retschko? Oh,
Retschko.
This is gonna taunt me. I'm just gonna call him Patrick.
Retschko.
Retschko. All right, I'll do my best. Jeez, I might be the next victim to butchering someone's name.
We're gonna have 25 years of Shea Bolton. Retrenko's. Caller on radio that couldn't say Deledio, who go Delolio.
Who's that?
Oh, there was a caller on SEN a couple of years ago. They tried to step him through Delolio, and he go Delolio.
Gee, that's not a hard one. Wow, I feel a little bit better. Dan Bailey, choose one, Dersma or Roby. Oh. I mean, I don't think Dersma will get to our pick. I don't know. Like, I know Dersma's been touted at 1 for a while. I still don't know if the body of work is really that strong or that different to anybody else's. I think it's the fact that he's a utility that can play at multiple positions that makes him appealing. Very good athletically as well. I'd almost be tempted to go Roby, but I don't know if that's the right call or not.
It's not my area of expertise.
No, fair enough. I'm sure there'll be plenty more draft stuff that will come out. We'll learn all these plays. Bird Dog, as long as we beat Carlton round one again.
I'll do 5 minutes of study before the draft and then laugh at North Melbourne again. I mean, how hard is it?
I know. I'm looking forward to our draft night show, just in case the Blair rips someone else off this year that we can have a great laugh at, which would be nice.
We really need to celebrate this pick 4 when we pick it too.
Yes. Yeah. So pick 4, whatever kid we draft for pick 4, we do have to celebrate that quite right.
And what we need to do for the rest of their careers, we need to compare whoever we draft at pick 4 to Whitlock for their entire careers.
Well, that too. I'm still not convinced. I actually heard something funny today that there was North Melbourne people suggesting that Whitlock would have gone like top 5, top 10 in this year's draft. I'm not sure he would have. Yeah, I really do think he's more of a project player. But anyway, they made their choice, and we made ours. But no, I think we walk away doing okay from this trade period. Next year's trade period, I think we might be a bit more active. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think, is that still pulling the trigger too early? Like 2026, we're going to be our second year into a rebuild. The young kids will be getting closer to 50 games. Is it still technically too early to pull the trigger to get more mature players in? Or are we at a point where we would then just sort of have a crack and try and bring a few in sort of St Kilda style? Maybe not to their full extent, but have a bit of a shop.
I think, is it ever the right time? Like at the end of 2016, everyone was laughing at us for picking up Prestia, right? And then we came out and did what we did. I think what will probably happen is we'll be talking to XYZ players, and then halfway through the season, we'll be getting a pretty good indication of how we think we're progressing. And we can then sort of sell the vision or the dream, if it's going well, to those players about, you can see, here we go, you can see Lawler, you can see Fall, you can see, Houghton, you can see Alger, you can see all these players, they're all coming on. We're 1 to 2 years away from top 8, we're 3 years away from top 4. We need you, we think you're going to make the difference. You are the missing piece. You just do the hard sell. And so I think it will all depend on where we are at halfway through next year. I think we'll have fingers in a lot of pies, and then we'll go from there. Yeah. So
it really does come down to how good of a year we have. And that's not necessarily dictated by wins and losses either.
No.
Which is a good thing. I think it's just about showing you really competitive, showing that there's another layer in addition to the game plan, that we're in games. Again, you'd want to have another year when there's no 100-point losses, but I want to see our average score around that 70 to 80-point mark rather than the 40 and 50-point mark. So there's a few small things we have to do. And I'm no doubt the club are aware of it, but the hard thing to tell is how far or how much progress do these second-year players make, and is the chance of second-year blues a thing? Is it still exist? Are we able to dance around that somehow? I don't know, but you'd hate for them to go backwards. But I feel like they're good enough that they'll progress themselves a bit in 2026.
I'm expecting big things, especially, a lot of them had interrupted years as well. So I think we're only going to see the beginning of what they're capable of next year. And when you think about, it's only their second year or whatever, it was Logan Morris's second year and he won his second flag. It was going first year. Jack Graham played in a flag and then played really well the next year right up to the prelim when he did his shoulder. So if you're good enough, you're good enough. No, Chris Judd didn't get second-year blues.
No, he was very good though. It was very good though. Interesting point here from Zwan that we had 5 picks in the first 30 in 2021 draft. Our rebuild isn't in its second year. It's much further advanced. I get your point. I disagree, though, because we weren't playing the players. It's hard to rebuild if you're still not playing them. Dimmer was very, for all of his good stuff, he was very reluctant to blood young players because they still felt we were a chance to win a flag. Hence why we brought across the players that we did. So while we did take the players, I don't know whether the rebuild started then. I mean, the rebuild for me starts when you actually do a clean out and you lose all of the lingering older and experienced players and cut it deep like we did and then start again. I can see the point. I just don't know if I agree with it fully. What do you reckon, EJ? What was our 2021 draft? Let's have a look at that.
That's what I'm just Googling now. Oh, you'll get your fingers, I can hear them. They're going to be quicker than mine. Is it 2021? So, that's the draft. That's the draft with Sonzi, Brown.
Yeah. So we had Gibkiss at 9.
Yeah.
Tom Brown at 17. Sonzi at 28. Banks at 29. And Juddy Clark at 30.
Right. Well, Juddy Clark's had 2 knees and been really unlucky. He looked like he was going to be 3. He looked like he was going to be a good player. But Banks has come on beautifully after being given a chance. Gibkiss, we think, is going to be good given a chance. Brown is a success. Sonzi looks like it might be a fail. I think it's actually not bad. As you said, they didn't really play much in the first 2 years. So we're
like
really
Brown's only on 42 games at the moment. And realistically, you'd like to have thought he's already past 50 by now. Same as Sonzi, same as Banks.
42 games in 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
so
out of 80 games.
We get those guys. We get those guys to 50, 60, 70 games, and Banks looks like he's coming on at an insanely good rate. And then we say, "Oh shit, it actually was a pretty good draft."
I might be the lone ranger here. I still hold out really strong hope for Juddy Clark as well, to be honest. I just see so many good qualities in him. I know the 3 knees is far from ideal. He's still very young. I don't know. He just has something that says to me that we could utilize him greatly at AFL level if he can not break down. And I know that's probably a long shot, but I'm still holding out some hope.
I genuinely thought it was 2, 3. That's unlucky.
One was in the junior years and then 2 in senior football.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, it's a unique position, as someone has said in the comments, that we were in a position where we had flag players, we couldn't really not play them. So that retards development to a certain degree. I reckon they blossomed pretty well in the last 2 seasons. If you add 5 to 6 players out of the players we picked last year and another 4 or 5, you've got half your 23 coming in a 3 or 4 year period. You can really build around that. That's a good nucleus.
And I think how we went about not playing our youngsters that we had, like those guys we just mentioned, is the key difference to why Geelong is staying up for as long as they do, because they always found a way to keep blooding players. And they got across some good free agents, no doubt, that kept them going. But I feel like Geelong, Hawthorn, in their sort of prime days, even Sydney to an extent, they always kept finding a way to keep plugging in these young kids to get experienced while surrounded by gun players. And it kind of just helped nurture and develop them, whereas we just didn't play them. And now we're sort of playing catch up a little bit now. And hopefully, we're still going to see plenty of development and growth in players like Tom Brown and Sam Banks. Brown in particular, I feel like 2026, by the end of the season, I'd love to see Tom Brown averaging 20 disposals. I think he was just getting it far too less for someone who's got such a beautiful kick on him. We need him with ball in hand.
Where's he playing?
So he can play anywhere. Like, I can understand the merit in playing him at half forward to utilize his entry into the forward line. I could understand the potential for a wing, but I think him and Banks off halfback is probably where I would start. But share the load. Like, don't be afraid of using, because he's such a great kick of the ball that he could actually clear zones and defensive lines. I thought we underutilized one of his biggest strengths. Where would you play him?
I play him off halfback. Yeah.
I think so. I do think that he could be used as a bit of a, if we need to mix things up and we need something different up forward during a game, if we need to arrest momentum or kick a late goal or something like that, I wouldn't be against throwing him forward because he's a nice height and a good mark and a lovely kick for goal. I think he does have that flexibility. Would you be okay rolling him around like that if we had to? Not all the time, but just when circumstances arise.
Much like Bolter, I'd prefer if he was settled in one position.
I think you would keep him in the back line for bulk of the game, every game.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to throw the magnets.
Hey, if you're 2 goals down and you need something to make it work, nothing wrong with that. Dan Bailey has raised a question that we talked about off air the other night.
The ruck issue?
Yeah. And we were talking about this when we finished. I really like Sims, and I think long term he's going to be a really good player. But I would love to go after a team's second ruck at the end of next season. Again,
well, like we said, there's a couple that already got re-signed recently, didn't they?
Yep.
The Giants, Hawks signed probably the 2 that were probably at the top of everybody's list. Was it Ned Reeves and who's the Giants one? I can't remember his name.
The Gold Coast, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, Gold Coast. Yeah,
Moyle.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's always a ruckman looking for an opportunity, and with the new ruck rules, they probably don't suit Nank as much as they do some others, and he's carried a very heavy load for a long time, and started to miss a game here and there. I don't think we need to draft a world beater, which is we weren't doing that when we drafted Nank.
True.
We were drafting someone for a bit of cover for Big Ivan.
Yep.
You just need a good, solid, dependable AFL level ruck.
And there could be one just floating around in the state league. I mean, I see Noah's raised this, and that Braden Crossley, I think, was it Southport? I want to say he played for. Maybe I'm wrong. In the VFL, but he was always a name that kept getting mentioned as one of the more dominant ruckmen at VFL level. But I agree. I think we do need to find someone at the end of 2026. Samson Ryan, you pray and cross your fingers and toes that something clicks and it all comes together. We get another preseason to see if that's going to be the case. I'm going to get flamed for it, but I'll say it anyway. He's still technically young-ish for a ruckman. Probably last year he needed to do more, but then he had a couple of injuries. This year onwards is when I would expect a ruckman to start coming into their prime and actually getting the job done. But we probably needed to see a bit more from him in the lead up to this moment in time to suggest that it's going to happen, and we haven't really seen it. And I guess Hayes Brown puts his hand up as well. Sims we may not see for a little bit with the navicular. So we do have to really look after and nurture Nank, and I won't be surprised if we do see Samson Ryan or Hayes Brown play some genuine game time this year in a bid to help prolong Nank's career. Like, we just can't drive him into the ground anymore. It just doesn't work.
I genuinely think that Snack Pack is going to debut next year.
I think so too. I think, especially with that 5th player on the bench, I think most teams are going to use it as for another tool, to be honest. I can see him getting a game for sure. Enter CDT. Look, I still don't think he's the right fit for us. I'll die on that hill, and I might be proven wrong ultimately, and that's okay too. I'd rather be wrong and it turns out great for us. If Nate was to retire next year, which I don't think he will, maybe the year after, nor CDT nor Sims are going to be physically ready to ruck. And CDT's backup spot is a key forward, which we've just drafted 3 of them, and we've got Fawcett there as well. I just don't see how he logically fits in that mix. As good as he might be, I don't know how it works for us, is my only concern. But he might be the best available at our pick, and we may just do it. So that could be.
I'm. So is he primarily a ruck, or is he?
He's a ruck forward rather than the forward ruck.
I am anti-drafting unless he is the second coming. I'm anti-drafting rucks with top 10 picks.
He's a bit of a unicorn. in terms of his combine numbers, his fitness and whatnot. But I still don't know if he's done enough where I'm like, holy shit, you got to take this kid no matter what. I don't know. It does. I'm like you. It scares me a little bit with the ruckman. Yeah, but I think Moyle did re-sign, which is annoying. I think though, if a club, even those ruckmen who re-signed EJ, I think if you were to come with an offer, say, hey, you're going to be number one ruck at Richmond, here's the offer, I reckon they would say, okay, sure. I feel like that would still be enticing enough for a second ruck.
I think I've heard it reported a couple of times in the back half of the year is that he's a really loyal character,
right?
Which I low-key respect. Like,
yeah,
I
for sure,
really respect it. And so that whole thing about waiting for Witts to retire, I can see it, and that's the sort of guy that I'd like to see. Witts retires next year, comes out, Moyle takes the comp by storm, wins a flag, be great. Yeah, I'd take him. I like him, but I think he's going to stick at Gold Coast.
Yeah, if he's played the loyalty line, then yeah, you've got to probably respect that, and he probably will do that. So that's fair enough. Fair enough to him.
I'm not even going to mention it. I know I'm not going to say it because it's very funny, but it probably doesn't go up on the screen.
Zayden Lockwood as a Category B signing, I wouldn't be against that. No, I thought he had a really good back half of the year. Wouldn't be the worst if we've got the spot. We may as well. But yeah, interesting times ahead now that trade's done. Can we still? I know you can still trade picks on draft night, but can you still trade picks now up until draft night, or is there a call-off period now? How does it work? I can't remember.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know.
Does anyone in chat know? For some reason, I thought that you could still trade picks either in the lead up to the draft night. I don't think
it makes sense because it makes sense because it's just paper.
Yeah, it's not a player. Someone mentioned before
hoops and football. Hoops and football says only on draft night, I believe.
And then Birdman says 2 weeks closes before draft. So we've got some mixed. We've got some mixed ones. Okay. I think you still can. Letter says they said on the trading show. Interesting. There's a lockout a week or two before the draft. Okay, so maybe it's still open now and then closes off.
So we have both a very knowledgeable audience and a lot of people that don't know shit.
Well, just like us, they're no different from us. We don't know
100%. 100%.
I like it, but that's why it's good to have
100%.
everyone's input. Someone's bound to be right, and that's the most important thing.
Someone's bound to be right, and it's usually not me.
No, if we throw enough darts, we'll land one of them. It's fine.
Yeah. Someone said before.
Someone asked before about Josh Lindsay and have we gone off him? So Josh Lindsay was, still is, a highly touted kid in the draft. He's probably one of the better kicks in the draft as a halfback. I guess the knock has been that he doesn't do well defensively, and it can maybe succumb to a bit of pressure and a hard tag. So I actually feel like that Josh Lindsay might have gone down the draft order a little bit. But to Birdman's point, sort of, Xavier Taylor, I keep hearing, is someone that we are showing a lot of interest in. So Xavier Taylor, EJ's plays for the Eastern Rangers, 191 centimetres, intercept defender. Has a good 20-metre sprint speed, does take off the dangerous kicks. Feels very much like Trainer, to be honest, but maybe better skilled. Reads the play well. And I think people worry about taking a intercept defender at pick 4. I think that the club are still trying to prepare for life after Vlosten Broad. The guys we've got now, I don't think fully cover it. So I actually won't be shocked if we look at someone like a Xavier Taylor who can do an intercept defensive role, who still might grow a little bit taller.
Okay, I'm just reading that in Cartman's voice. Move Banks in the midfield, because it's not there. It's dead. I haven't had a really good look at the draft yet. I tend to do it about a week out, crash course for 3 or 4 nights, and then make my mind up.
Keep it when you do your crash course. I'd be keen to hear what your thoughts are on him once you have a bit of a look.
Yeah, I've got no issues in taking a rebound defender in that position if they're close to the best available, because it's a needs-based selection. But
Yeah, we have a few needs.
it has to be close. Has to be close to best available.
Yeah, and it's just interesting because Rygeishan mentioned that we've got like 10 or 15 that we're very comfortable with, which is quite a broad number, to be honest. And it would be fascinating to learn a bit more about, okay, so within that 10 to 15, what do they then prioritize and how do they then rank it to land on a final outcome?
If I was to ask you, right, if you were given control, if you were given the keys to the Ferrari on draft night, right, and you've got picks 3 and 4, who are you taking and why, given our current list structure?
If we assume that West Coast take Dersma and Duff Tytler, even though I've been against this for a little while, I think I've changed my mind. I think I would still go Dyson Sharp with one of the picks. Just think he's the best known quantity player in the draft. He was the best player of the under-18 carnival. You know what you're going to get. And I think it's not so much for the Richmond of now, but it's for the Richmond of 3 or 4 years' time when Presti is not there. Taranto and Hopper may not be there, or they might be in different roles and winding down. I think then having a midfield of Sharp, Houghton, Lawler, Smiley is a really attractive prospect. The second pick, geez, it's a really tough one. Sam Cummings a good one from South Australia. Roby's a good one. And Grill, I think from a needs perspective and his speed blend is actually quite appealing. If I had to pick one, I'd almost go Sam Cumming.
Right, so
closely
what you're
followed by
telling me,
Roby.
So what you're telling me is that you wouldn't take Lindsay.
No.
All right, there you go. So that's why I wanted you to go through that process. You've answered the question, so we don't take him.
Yeah, I wouldn't at that pick.
Yeah, because so you've worked through. So you've worked through who's available. You've ranked them. You've got them in your head. You know where they are.
Yeah.
And if he's not there, and if he's not close to there, well, then we don't take him.
No, I don't think we would either. It's not risky, but there's just better. There's more well-rounded players at that spot that can offer us. Loki, it's a really interesting question you raise. Is 3 or 4 too high for Grill? Before the combine, I agreed with that sentiment. I thought it was too high. After the combine, and I don't know how much weight we should give to the combine, but having someone like get the score he did in the 2K time trial and the 20-meter sprint hasn't been done in 3 years, finishing in the top 2 or 3 for both. It's actually a really rare mix of endurance and speed that he's got, which would fit every AFL club perfectly. And I think that in itself could potentially justify a pick at 4. I wouldn't be mad, put it that way, if we did it. If we thought he best suited our list, I wouldn't be mad. The thing is, there's just plenty of options, which is good. So if Dan Bailey, you've got Cumming and Sharp as well. Yeah, I think I would do that. I'm not sure. You reckon Sharp would? And look, I'm not deterred by drafting South Australians. I think at some point, EJ, you gotta back yourself as a club to have a good enough culture to keep these kids. I don't think you should be scared or not draft them because of where they reside.
Shane Edwards worked out all right.
Shane Edwards did work out all right. And I think people need to get a bit burnt because of recent times.
Yeah. I mean, look, it is definitely a risk. But I think what has been proven over the last few years is if you are a club with excellent culture, you are a better chance to hold on to your kids.
100%.
There's not many leaving from us. There's not many leaving from Geelong. There's not many leaving from Sydney. Like the good clubs, they hold on to the ones that they want to hold on to.
Yeah. And this is where the Zach Merritt thing was interesting because the talk kept being about that he didn't believe it was a high-performance environment. And that doesn't just mean fitness and strength and conditioning. That's like top to bottom. And I think the one thing that even though some of these people have departed the club since, like Benny and Peggy, Dimmer as well, Cotchall, like Jack Rewalt, I think even though they've departed, they've left enough of a footprint on the club that it can still be carried on with the good culture and making it a really welcoming and nice environment for players. We just now need the results to start sort of marrying up to start drawing players across again. But I don't think we'll ever be a club in the near future that would worry about losing players that we don't want to lose. Like we lost Tyler Young, shit happens, but I don't think we were upset or mad at losing him. I think we were okay with that. If we were to lose Ben Miller, it would be a bit different.
I'm going to address a comment here.
Yep.
I've made that point, and then Birdman's gone, how did Baker, Bolton, Jack and Rioli go? Right. We knew Baker was going a couple of years out. He told the club a long way out that at some point I'm going to go back home. That's what I'm going to do. And that was hard for him. Bolton, it was 100% family. We pushed Jack Graham out the door. We tried to do it on a couple of occasions. Rioli, you've got a case.
My other argument to that is the big difference is they've all won flags. Like that's the pinnacle. Some 2, some 3. So they've achieved everything you can achieve at a footy club. So then there becomes a bit more temptation to maybe go and finish your career elsewhere. You've done what you can achieve. Whereas when you don't achieve that, there's maybe less reason to go potentially.
Yeah, and Rioli, if Dimmer wasn't coaching, he wouldn't have left, I don't believe. I blame that snake Dimmer. That snake.
Yeah, I don't think he would have gone there if it wasn't for Dimmer. It was definitely a Dimmer follow. And well done to Dimmer. He obviously, it's really catapulted them up, so he knew what he was doing. Interesting. Dimmer convinced Rioli for sure. All right, well, that's probably a wrap for tonight. Just going to do a bit of a trade week wrap up. Even though we weren't big players, we still managed to have a bit of fun in the last hour that no one expected, which was really, really good. It's always nice when those ones come off. But we walk away with, what do we walk away with? Pick 28. Pick 38, was it? Yeah, pick 38 for
38.
For Tyler Young, which is what it is. And then we give up picks 99, which was just the token list spot for Patrick Retschko. What? How have I got each? I have to think my way
you're onto it early. You're onto it early.
Christ. I won't remember it by next week. I'll butcher it in a week's time. But yeah, good work by Blair. He just wanted to get involved, and now we sort of turn our attention to the draft in about a month, roughly. So in between now and then, folks, I believe I'm organising something with Dylan Alexander to come on to talk about his latest rankings. So look out for that live. I've got Cam Hicks sent me through tonight his mock draft, so we'll do something on that and do a live to talk about his mock draft. He's actually got us with a split pick in there, which was interesting. There's a couple of other mock draft things happening as well over the coming weeks too. So keep an eye out for all of that. That's pretty much what it's going to be all about in the lead up to draft night. And we'll do a draft on, we'll do a live show on draft night. We'll compare mock drafts and keep a tally and all that kind of stuff. It should be really, really interesting. But hopefully we'll see pre-season stuff kick off soon. We'll see the boys doing some more training. Birdman, if Roby isn't at our pick, I would take Cumming. If Roby's not there and we want Roby, I would take Cumming as the next best thing. Date for the Dylan stream, we're just working that one out. So I'm just waiting for him to come back to me. I'll announce all of that on the socials once I hear back from Dylan. We get that organised. So we will get that. We'll get that on there. No news on Hollands either. It feels like that he would have to get delisted by Carlton, and we would have to take him as a train-on player if we were to explore that option. But it depends on what they do. Like Carlton would be within their rights to hold him for the contract, but it may not turn out that way. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. But EJ, thank you for jumping on at such extreme late notice from the hotel with the Harry Armstrong room number. Very good. And
and my little foo. There we go. Is that better, people?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, got the
there we go. Who was after me to frame my?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in for all the questions. We might do a few more live Q&As along the journey as well. I think people seem to enjoy it, to ask all the different questions. But yeah, until the next one, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.